back with the Buff Dude Superhero Plan. Stage 4, Day 3, Power. So today we're gonna be working on a whole bunch of exercises, which if you followed the prior 2 days of the Power stage, they're gonna be pushing you to the limit. And us as well, and you're about to watch us do exactly that. Power. First exercise is gonna be the push jerk. Now, this is pretty similar in some ways to the push press, but it's also different in other ways, and we're gonna be going over that. So first off, it's similar to the push press. For use of that is you're gonna be utilizing dip drive. So you dip in your hips and your knees, and then you drive with your hips and knees forward. But it's not so much of a push exercise of the shoulders. Your lower body's doing most of the work. So what you wanna do is grasp a bar in that clean position, and the bar is gonna be resting on your shoulders. So you're not kind of holding the bar here with your shoulders, it's actually just resting on your shoulders here. So there's not really a lot of tension on the shoulders to hold the bar. It's really just kind of most of the upper body holding it here. And you're getting a pretty wide stance. You'll be dipping down and driving upwards, and you're gonna let your lower body push that bar up. So you're gonna be up, and then as soon as it gets to the top position, you're gonna drop back down in this quarter squat, and then you're gonna push yourself up to the top position. So the shoulders are working, of course, to help stabilize the bar in that top position, but they're not necessarily pushing the weight up. You wanna rely most of that on your lower body there. So dip down, and then you're gonna power forward, thrusting in your hips. It's gonna carry the weight up, but you're gonna be catching it with your shoulders in that locked out position with your elbows as well. So your scapula is gonna be elevated, but also retracted here to really help stabilize that bar. And then you're gonna, once you kind of squat the rest of the way up, you're gonna bring it down and catch it back on the shoulders there. And that is the push jerk. So, much like a lot of these exercises in this stage, we're utilizing a lot of power in the hips because of course the hip section develops a lot of power, and this exercise is no different. I remember when I took some jiu-jitsu classes for a small period of time, and I was always so blown away by how much power you needed to generate in the hips in order to really execute a lot of the moves, get out of some precarious positions, and it kind of gave me a whole new mindset on really your center, your core, your hips, and this is one exercise that definitely helps improve that. This whole stage really, many of the exercises, so if you're feeling a little bit unsure about them, of course, start with lightweight. Feel free to stay on the stage for more than just the 3 weeks. These are exercises which will be excellent addition to your arsenal, especially if you're performing a lot of moves that require that generation of power. Up next is gonna be the PLYO inverted rows, wide to close. So you're gonna be doing a standard inverted row positioning, but you're gonna be exerting a lot of energy to pull yourself up to the top position and release your grip for just a second to close it into a closer grip, then let yourself down, and then do it again, but this time bring your grip wider. So you're accelerating your body up, and then you're decelerating it down, so it's taking a lot of energy and of course, a lot of power. I'm going with the Johnny from Karate Kid look today. Or maybe the Johnny from Cobra Kai look today. I might be, pounding a few cold ones after this workout because it's hard. The PLYO, wide to close inverted row, really a lot like the PLYO push-ups we did from day number 1. You really start to feel the groove there. It's a lot like a locomotive. You're just chugging along, getting it done, and of course, being damn winded at the end of that thing. Whew. Reciprocal dumbbell presses. Now, this is quite a bit different than your standard dumbbell press, bilateral, or even when you're doing it unilateral or alternating. Reciprocal is you're lowering one as you're pressing the other. So one arm, or one chest muscle pectoralis major, is eccentrically moving the weight, while the other is concentrically. So it takes a little bit more coordination than your standard alternating when you're focusing on one side and then moving on to the next, or just solely focusing on one side or both sides. So when you're kind of moving together like that in opposite directions, it can throw you off a little bit, require a little bit more activation and balance. And of course, you can kind of create that punching motion, get in a good groove, and develop a lot of strength and size in the chest, which is what we want. So this is a really good one. I'm gonna put those weights in a fucking body bag. Now we're on to the push press. So as you can see, a little bit different than the push jerk where there's gonna be a lot of shoulders involved. You're helping quite a bit with your lower body by dipping, driving, but then you're pressing with the shoulders. So you're gonna feel a lot in the shoulders. This is probably one of our favorite movements for really pushing the shoulders kind of past their limit. You know, you do a typical standard overhead press, your legs are locked, it's all in the shoulders. But if you want to try to push your shoulders a little bit further, you do the push press because you get a little help with your legs. So usually you can go a little bit heavier with it, and that's what we're doing in this exercise here. Oh yeah. All three heads of the deltoids are gonna feel it on that one. And one thing you gotta remember when doing it along with the push jerk is you gotta remember what exercise you're doing. So you can kind of slip back into trying to perform the push jerk again, but like Brandon said, you wanna remember the key difference with the push press is you're dipping, driving, and then pressing the weight up, utilizing your shoulders. You know our least favorite exercise is walking lunges? Well, we just upped the stakes, so you're gonna hate it even more. It's overhead walking lunges. And after a workout this intense, it's kicking our ass. But I'll tell you one thing, it keeps us on our toes, that's for damn sure. It's not only working your lower body by accelerating yourself forward and decelerating yourself on each step, but also you're holding something above your head. So it not only makes the leg movement or the lower body movement more difficult, it makes the upper body work throughout the motion too, stabilizing the weight, but you're also raising your center of gravity, so that makes it even more difficult because you're gonna have to stabilize yourself with your lower body as well as your upper body too. So there's a lot of things going on in this exercise, and as you'll notice, you probably don't wanna go too heavy because that can create a lot of instability, extra instability, but also you don't wanna injure your shoulders because of course they're holding that weight above your head. Always hard doing them, but it always feels so damn good when you're finished with the walking lunges, and especially the overhead walking lunges.
Run around, run, run, run.
Wrapping up this workout with weighted hanging leg raises. You can see there's a little buff dude in the making running around because he's signaling me that the workout is time to be finished. We're gonna eat lunch. Hope you enjoyed this one. It was definitely, it's pushing us to our edge, but we have one day left of this stage. And here's our hype man.
I'm the hype man.
He runs around screaming after we perform a good set. It keeps us motivated. Yeah.